Welcome to another explainer. Today, we're taking a really fascinating look at how an ancient philosophy can literally cure your modern corporate burnout. Look, we live in a world where the daily grind can just feel absolutely exhausting, right? But today, we're diving into source texts that offer a profound way out. We're talking about taking the highest spiritual aspirations and bringing them straight into your morning commute and your office cubicle.
So let's just dive right into this by asking a pretty radical question. Think about that endless rat race for fame and fortune that totally exhausts so many of us. I mean, we spend 8, 10, sometimes 12 hours a day fighting for a promotion, agonizing over office politics, or just stressing over our status. But what if those exact same hours in that exact same office could generate infinite merit instead of infinite stress? What if your workplace was actually the perfect training ground for ultimate happiness? Well, to understand the solution, we first kind of need to look at the inherent problem with our daily pursuits of success.
Section 1. The illusion of worldly success. Let's look at the contrast here. On one hand, we've got the ordinary worldly pursuit, which is essentially seeking fragile wealth and status just for oneself. Imagine an executive hoarding credit for a project just to get a bonus. That kind of game, it's totally temporary, and honestly, it's incredibly stressful to maintain. But on the flip side, we have bodhicitta cultivation. This is seeking the ultimate happiness of all beings. Cultivating this bodhisattva mindset unlocks something completely boundless. It's a totally different scale of operation that creates limitless merit, rather than just fragile temporary gains that you could easily lose tomorrow.
Section 2. Bodhicitta, Mother of Merits.
The crucial point here is making a massive paradigm shift toward this concept called bodhicitta. Let's just take a second to absorb this beautiful, ancient wisdom from the Bodhisattva. It compares this mindset to sweet rain, extinguishing the harsh fire of our daily suffering. Just imagine that for a second. When you're literally burning up with the stress of an impending deadline or having a massive conflict with a manager, this state of mind acts as a cooling, sweet rain that eliminates that specific burning suffering. But what exactly is it?
Simply put, bodhicitta is the sincere aspiration for enlightenment and the ultimate happiness of all beings. And this isn't just some lofty, abstract goal. The texts actually describe it as the mother of merit. Think about how a root gives life to an entire tree, or how a spring generates a flowing river. In the same way, bodhicitta is the source from which all wisdom and positive action flow. Without it, even our best deeds are kind of limited. But with it, everyday's seemingly mundane or even selfish actions are instantly transformed into sacred, powerful practices. It's a real game changer. Section 3. Transforming the Modern Workplace.
Okay, let's move to the practical application, because philosophy is really only useful if we can actually use it, right? You can literally make this your daily routine. Step 1 is a morning visualization. You wake up and visualize light welling up from your mind, turning into that sweet rain we talked about, soothing the stress of everyone you're going to interact with today. Step 2 is mindful action. Every passive-aggressive email you have to reply to, every endless meeting you sit through is prefaced with the thought, may this benefit others. And step 3 is evening reflection. Right before bed, just review your intent. If you maintained it, rejoice. If you lost it, no big deal, just vow to try again tomorrow. Now, this brings us to a highly specific and honestly a very powerful application. In the workplace, the texts advise us to not be guided by fame and fortune, but by the thought, may my colleagues achieve growth and stability. Think about how radically this shifts your day. If you replace that fierce urge to beat out your coworkers for that corner office with a genuine, sincere wish for their personal growth, your work instantly becomes a profound spiritual resource. You are no longer just competing, you're actively cultivating merit.
Section 4. Reframing Rivals and Hardships.
Of course, work isn't always smooth sailing. I mean, we all know that for sure. So how do we handle the inevitable conflicts, the totally unfair situations, or just difficult people? Well, the texts give us a direct cheat sheet for flipping workplace frustrations into pure spiritual growth. When the trigger is seeing a rival or an enemy at work, instead of getting defensive, the Bodhicitta response is to think, may my compassion dissolve their resentment. When you see the ultra-wealthy, maybe a CEO making millions while you're struggling, the response is, may their wealth become a force for helping others. And when facing pure hardship or a terrible day at the office, you completely reframe it. May this suffering be the fuel to cultivate my bodhicitta. You are literally using your obstacles as the path forward. And here is the absolutely incredible result of all this reframing. This highlights a truly beautiful paradox found in the source text. By stopping the endless obsession with your own success, your own wealth, and your own stress, and entirely focusing on others, your own emotional exhaustion is completely cured. When you wish others to be free from suffering, your own heart is profoundly healed. You aren't just helping your colleagues here, you're freeing yourself from the heavy, exhausting burden of constant self-interest.
Section 5. A world healed by compassion.
Let's zoom out for a second and look at the massive ripple effect this ancient philosophy has on our modern lives. The texts tell us that this isn't just about making small, incremental changes. Even a single moment of genuinely wishing others well creates absolutely boundless merit. It transcends endless lifetimes of ordinary, selfish merit-making. It breaks through the dark night of our ignorance like a sudden burst of sunlight, and it transforms our incredibly stressful, burning world into a pure, cooling realm. Just one single moment of generating bodhicitta turns the darkest, most cutthroat corporate environment into a place of light and spiritual awakening.
I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought to take into your next workday, drawn straight from the reflections in the source text. Imagine how radically your office, your family life, and our entire world would transform if everyone simply made this shift. If everyone generated this mind, what conflicts and suffering would actually remain? It's a really powerful question to ask yourself the next time you sit down at your desk or when you walk through your front door and home. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I hope you can take a little bit of that sweet rain into your work this week.